This is Charleston's retirement coach, Brandon Bowen.
Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for downloading. Most importantly, thanks for listening. This is Charleston's Retirement Coach Podcast with Brandon Bowen. It's all powered by Bowen Wealth. You can get more when you visit bowenwealth.com, and you can find that and all the information in the show notes. My name is Mark Owens. Now, let's get to the show. I wanted you to offer a quick reminder. It's not a fun conversation, but it's a real conversation. You do a lot of work with widows. And walk me through some of the steps you take with those in this situation.
I do. I would say widows, and Mark, I would even add divorced people. So if you're by yourself, that's the big thing I want you to hear is, that might be why you kind of listen to this radio show, trying to gather as much information to make some of these scary decisions by yourself it can paralyze people.
Yeah.
And so, we do have, we just this past week, we had a widow call in, and she's got, 7 figures, and she's just really, really nervous. And I'm glad you brought this up, Mark. I want to put that out there. If you are divorced or single or widowed, just know that I am a safe place to come in and just have a conversation about here's what I've done. Here's what I have at this point. And, here's my goals. And some, maybe you don't understand a lot of the things or a lot of these concepts, or maybe you've got a great grasp and you want just a thoughtful second opinion. That's why I'm here. So use me, pick up the phone. He just gave our number, 843-890-2400. Give us a call or a text. We will start right there. But yes, I'm here, and I just try to treat people how I would, treat my parents, my in-laws, and just people I care for.
Yeah, especially in the situation that, you're a widow too. It's kind of good to have somebody lean on that you trust. So a lot of emotions going on at the time. Well, Brandon can help walk you through that, bowenwealth.com. Do you find that you mentioned divorce a couple seconds ago? I read a statistic. Gray divorce is on the rise. Are you seeing that reality in the Charleston area?
I wouldn't say, I would say more of I see more where one spouse passes away.
Okay.
Yeah. Those articles, heard about it a lot. But it's life is going to throw so many curves, and
right.
There's so many things like Social Security. Okay, what do we do in the event of divorce? And can I file based on my ex's benefit? The answer is yes, depending on a few things. So there's so many things. It's not going to hurt you to get that second opinion.
Just to ask the question.
Yes.
843-890-2400. Again, 843-890-2400. You can call right now. You can call later this week. You can call on Monday when you have some more time. But we do invite you to call Brandon and the team at Bowen Wealth, 843-890-2400. All right, Brandon, let's get to the hot topic of the week. Market volatility. Brandon, a lot of adults, they're concerned about their retirement savings because of the market. What it's been up, it's down. Some places saying we're about to hit the worst recession of all time. It's going to be another Black Monday. Some people saying, hey, just be patient. Let's see what happens. But there could be some danger when you hear some advisors say, just relax, just be patient. That may not be the best advice. So, Brandon, what are you telling adults worried about the market and how it could affect their retirement savings?
I would say that, this nervousness, this pain, this fear that you are feeling, it could be something or it could be nothing. Okay. I know this, you might think I'm dodging the question, but it's, now what is true is, we had a 3-day run right there that set the records of back to back massive declines because of course, the tariff discussion and fears of trade war and all the stuff. And the market just loves to overreact, right? You might have a wonderful plan in place, with your income allocations set over here to the side, and maybe you have experienced some volatility, but with the proper bucket, that kind of thing. But what I would say is most likely is that it is probably showing you, if you've pulled up your balance, you better not be faint of heart. Right now, right? You better be sitting down to see these kind of drops that you're seeing. And so it really, Mark, it reminds me, I don't want to get in trouble with any lawyers around town here, but have you, heard in the news about the dockside condominiums downtown?
I've seen it, but I haven't gotten deep into it.
So it is, they've been ordered to evacuate. So I don't even know how many floors are on this thing. It's one of the tallest, maybe the tallest building downtown, and maybe, 15 stories or something like that. Well, they've been ordered to evacuate. But I remember hearing like several, news articles about like, okay, there's been some temporary fixes and a lot of assessments to the people that owned condos in there just for structural issues. Well, apparently there's like major cracks happening here, and they were given the order to evacuate. Like everybody, they had like 48 hours. Everybody had to be out. Now I've seen where they are allowing people to go in and get their stuff out, but you got to be on equal sides of the building. They're letting one family in at a time. It's crazy. And
that's terrifying.
I don't even know if I want to go in there.
I'm like, you know what? I'm good.
You get what I'm saying is, there's cracks. Now they're seeing cracks. And of course, the ultimate fear here is, where was it? Miami or something, that condo down there in Miami that collapsed. And so that, when you see these cracks here and these pillars and you're like, that is not safe. And so, what could be going on in your portfolio is, these could be some signs of some cracks, some major issues, some problems that, is going on with your portfolio based on your age and stage. Now, your portfolio might be beautiful for a 40-year-old or a 50-year-old, but if you're 60 now or 65, if you're on the doorstep of retirement or, fresh into retirement, or maybe you're, 70 and you're well into retirement, these could be warning signs, kind of shots across the bow here. And so what you need, what you're feeling here is I want to provide for you our complimentary risk and fee x-ray. It's a risk and fee x-ray. And here's kind of like the multi-point inspection. Here's what I'll go through. And so just bring in all of your statements, of wherever they're at, if they're all at one place or if they're all over the place, just bring them in and we'll put it all together and we'll let Morningstar. It's a very robust software. It's third party. It's not my opinion. It's Morningstar. Okay. What we're going to check is, okay, what is your balance? How weighted are you on the aggressive side? And what we find a lot of times is you might tell me, well, yeah, I told my girl or my guy, I told him I wanted to be balanced. I wanted to be maybe a 60-40 or a 40-60. But when we run this thing, a lot of times it comes back and the pie graph shows like 90-10. Like nobody has looked at this thing in years. Okay. And it's gone way, way too aggressive because the stocks have appreciated over the last, 10, 12 years. Right. So we see that we're massively out of balance. Okay. So that's maybe the first thing you want to address really, really quickly. Secondly is the correlation. You might see, so correlation means basically like you might have 15 to 20 mutual funds or ETFs in there, but you're probably going to be surprised to know that those things are all holding the same stuff. You might think, no, I got 20 ETFs here. But what you have is, the Vanguard S&P and Vanguard Growth and then QQQ and all these things that are kind of like holding the same stocks. So we want to look at that. And the problem there is if certain sectors of the market start collapsing or having a bear market or sell off, well, if that's in all of your stuff, then your portfolio, the whole thing is going to move in one direction. Okay. We've got to have some diversification. We got to have some fixed income stuff in there. We've got to have some dividend paying stocks and international and things like that where we can really diversify. And if some sector is going down, I want the other part to be coming up like a seesaw here. So you want to kind of even this out at this point of your life. Okay. And then the last thing would be the cost. How much are you paying right here? Because that is going to hurt your growth and it's going to, accelerate sell-offs, things like that, right? So Morningstar will tell us, okay, what are you paying as far as expense ratios for all of these mutual funds? Hopefully, your advisor's fee that he or she is charging you. So that's in addition. Okay. So you just need to know. Now, yes, I charge my clients a fee as well. And, so that's, but it needs to be reasonable and you need to know it and you need to be okay with it because they need to be bringing value, providing value to you with their thoughtful planning and communication and stuff. So that is a long-winded answer. If you've been looking at your portfolio and gosh, you see what it's done the last since really year to date, since January, it kind of has really just been sliding. And then now it's just been going kind of an avalanche here with all this tariff negotiation. So I say, pick up the phone, call us, bring that stuff in, and we'll get to work as quick as possible to give you a second opinion. It's my risk and fee x-ray, and you deserve it right now. So grab your phone. Our number is 843-890-2400. 843-890-2400. I would say if you're 60 or above and have saved $500,000 or more, it's time for this review, this second opinion, especially if you're like contemplating retirement.
Yeah.
Or if you've already retired and now you're like, you're looking at your spouse.
It's hard to get away from it because it's in our face.
Yes.
And I'm guilty of this too, doom scrolling on social media.
Mm-hmm.
You're flipping through the news, and I guess it depends on if you're going to watch MSNBC, Trump is trying to take the economy. It's the worst days ever. If you're watching Fox, it's like, hey, be patient or, stay the course. But I think at the end of the day, Brandon, your goal is to give us that life where we don't have to look at the news.
That's right. Yeah. Well, and let me be really transparent. So even my clients, right? So these are people that have come through, done this planning process, loved my plan, that, everything that we laid out. They've got an income plan set up. They've got still some money at risk in the market because you never want to completely get out, right? So they're seeing that piece of my pie here of their pie. And there's volatility. And it's like, Brandon, can you share your thoughts with me? Kind of like, hey, can you just remind me of what we've done, how everything is allocated? And then I go through and I start, recapping everything that we've done and how, okay, your income is wonderful. You've got a beautiful income plan right now. It's tax efficient. Do you need more income? And they're like, no, we're fine. We're doing everything we want to do. And then I'll say, okay, well, this money here that is volatile, when do you need it? And a lot of times they're like, that account, I don't know if we're ever going to touch it. But it's just nerve wracking to see it go down. And I say, I know, but if you've got the money set aside for your near term money, if that's good to go, then I want you to focus on that. Okay. This other stuff, we want the long term benefits of the stock market, but a lot of times or all the time, that does require us maybe some short term pain at different times, right? There's short-term, moments that we've got to live through to get the long-term benefits there, because this is a healthy moment for the market to have this sell-off, right? Mm-hmm. So we do want to just maybe control our emotions, but still be thoughtful, get this second opinion. So yes, pick up the phone, 843-890-2400.
We are emotional people. We are human beings. We are emotional, especially because it's our money. And we open up our portfolio, we get frantic, we get annoyed, we get worried. But Brandon Bowen, the team at Bowen Wealth, they want to help take the emotions out of your retirement planning and talk strategy. Let's talk strategy. What's going to be best for you moving forward? 843-890-2400. It's no cost. It's no obligation. Again, 843-890-2400. Who's standing by to talk to him this weekend, Brandon?
Tanya. Actually, it was Christy last week. I tricked everybody. But Tanya this week.
Very good. Talk to Tanya right now. Yes. You can give her a call or you can shoot her a text if you just have a question from something you hear on this weekend show. So when you do make that phone call, real quick, you're not talking to AI. You're not talking to a call service. You're talking to a team member at Bowen Wealth that can answer your questions. But the most important question that Tanya is going to ask you or text with you is, when is it convenient for you to sit down with Brandon to have a long-form conversation? 843-890-2400. We're always available at bowenwealth.com. And Brandon, we didn't get to it last weekend, but man, kind of sad news from Hollywood. Val Kilmer passing away. I was doing kind of a deep dive, got down a wormhole of all of his movies. You don't realize how many great movies that he's been in. Like from Top Gun, obviously, and then Top Gun Maverick had the cameo there. But I'm going way back to when I was a kid. You remember the movie either Top Secret or Real Genius?
No.
Okay.
I'm a Tombstone guy.
Oh, how can you not love Tombstone?
I'm your Huckleberry.
I didn't think you had it in you.
I'm your Huckleberry.
Why, Johnny Ringo. You look like somebody just walked over your grave.
Man, you knew I was going to say that.
Everybody, for the past week, everybody's just, I'm your Huckleberry.
Everybody's going to be talking like this today.
Of course, the iconic role of Doc Holliday in Tombstone. Here's a little bit more.
You must be Doc Holliday.
That's the rumor.
You retired too?
Not me. I'm in my prime.
Yeah, you look it.
You must be Ringo. Look, darling, Johnny Ringo.
Great. But he did say something there that made me think of you a little bit. Do you find that the new clients, the newer families that you serve, are they prepared for their final scene when they're still in their prime? Or, Brandon, do you find that they tend to avoid discussing that legacy planning, if you will?
No, I would say that, yes, we have a lot of people that come in and they're still in their prime. They are, still working. Okay. They're probably 60 to 65 and they come in and I see this, tremendous income. I see the title that they have at their work and I can tell that that's a source of pride and it's been a wonderful thing for their family. And so they've come in and they are doing just like they should. They're doing very timely planning of saying, hey, Brandon, here's what we've done. I'll start looking through it and I'll say, this is great. You got, when do you want to retire? And then I love when they go, well, I've got a couple options. They haven't really nailed down a day. Right. So if you're listening today and you're like, well, I don't know when I want to retire. And I'm like, well, that's fine. Still come in.
Right.
You could say, well, maybe it's 65 or maybe 67 or, I was thinking because I love my job and I'm just so surprised they pay me to come in because I just love it so much and things. Maybe you want to work till 70, but whatever your plan is, it's right now is when you need to come in, right? To kind of start looking at these things, because what I know is that, I've got so many clients and there's kind of like a balance that I don't want you to regret retiring too soon. I feel like those people that maybe say, I wish I didn't retire so soon. Well, that's because they ran out of money. Mm-hmm. What I work so hard to do is to help you not have any rocking chair regrets, where maybe you stayed at the office too long, to where maybe then you finally retired once the health issues started happening, things like that. I want you to retire when you're in your prime, when you are, you're maybe young 60s, you're active, so you can have a good 10 to 15 years of just enjoying all of this hard work, right? That's what I want you to do, is come in, let's put this plan together. And a lot of times I'll say, okay, when do you want to retire? Usually the first exit is the hardest to plan for. Well, every time, so if you tell me I want to retire in 6 months or 1 year, then, well, I'm going to go with that 6 months number. Mm-hmm. Okay. Because if you stay another year or two longer, then it just gets easier.
You said that first exit. How often does somebody come in and they say, I want to retire in 5 years from now? And you take a deep dive and you go, well, as a matter of fact, you could retire much earlier if you desire that.
Oh my gosh, yes. Those are like, I almost want to film and record my meeting, to get their reaction.
Yeah.
In there, that's happened. I've had a client I can remember here from he's probably now 3 or 4 years ago, came in, worked at Bosch over there on Dorchester Road. And he came in, he's like, well, Brandon, because he had in his mind, he had to get his 401k up to $1 million. Mm-hmm. He said, I'm thinking I'm going to have to work 2, maybe 3 more years because of the amount I'm contributing and hopefully with a little bit of growth. And this was pushing him up towards, 70 years old at that point, if he was going to wait that long. Well, they came in and we went through and he said, okay, well, here's our expenses. Here's what we need. So, when you tell me what you need, that's the number I solve for. Right?
Yeah.
With my plan, if you tell me how much you need for your expenses, and that number is going to include your standard of living, that would be your non-discretionary stuff. That's the money that you have to have for transportation, for lodging, right? To eat, things for your dignity. So maybe that's $5,000 a month. Maybe you say, okay, I need $5,000 a month, but then you might want an extra 1 or 2,000 to total maybe 7, right? So once I know this number that you need and then want, well, then I start going to work and I start building an income plan for you. And so like with that client, okay, well, we had Social Security. He had him and his wife, Social Security there. They had a pension decision to make, right? They could have taken the pension that Bosch was offering there, which was where, and you listening, if you have a pension option, we've got to look at those options there, because a lot of times you might see that number that they're showing you for income, which looks pretty good. But the problem is you have to give up all of that lump sum. All of that money's gone, maybe like $500,000 that you have to give that to them. The company is going to turn around and go buy you an annuity. Okay. And then that annuity starts paying you out for the rest of your life. And then depending on your choices there, if you pass away, that money could be gone. There's no death benefit with that thing. So with this client, we were able to, he had the lump sum option, and I was able to get him income right about what he would have gotten, but then still keep that money. Okay, so he still had that death benefit. So he's like, I love that. We got joint life, guaranteed income. And then if we both pass away way too soon, there's a death benefit for this money. Then he had his 401k, which was right about $800,000. Mm-hmm. And then we were able to design that income plan with that money here to further improve his income plan and then still keep some money at risk in the market. And I was like, hey guys, when they came in for the second meeting, I was like, tell you what, if you want to work till 70, I want you to just, tell me it's because you just love your job and you want to stay there. But did you know that you guys could leave here and go turn in your notice right now? They were looking at each other. I was like, let me prove it. Let me show you right here. Here's the number you need. Is that your true expenses? That's what you need. And he was like, yes, Brandon, $7,000. I don't even know how we're going to spend all of that $7,000.
Oh, what a good feeling.
Yeah, because, they were about to pay off their house. So it was getting really easy at this point to solve this plan. And I was like, because he's never really looked at the money as like, okay, let's make it income focused. Right? He was still thinking growth. I've got to grow it up to $1 million, right? So I got to take all this risk. But he just has not had anyone sit down with him because he's doing his 401k. He didn't even have an advisor, a relationship there. And so I was able to say, when you go to retirement, do you see that income is most important now at this point? And he was like, yes, I see that now, right? So you listening, you've got to change your mindset from growth, because that means you've got to take on risk. Right? Risk. Volatility, this up and down, this stress, all of this, uncertainty and deep pit in the pit of your stomach, or, and maybe you're not even talking to your spouse about it because you're carrying this weight, this burden, and you know that she's counting on you, or that he's counting on you to make the right financial decisions. You don't want to make the wrong decision, right? You guys can't go make this money again. Mm-hmm. Right? That's the problem. So once you change your mindset from like, okay, let me take a breath and understand that this money, if I've got $1 million or 1.5 or 500,000, whatever number you have, once you start to understand, okay, I want to put some guardrails up. It's like you're going around these mountain roads now. I want to put these guardrails up on this money here because I'd rather be safe than sorry. I want to see how much income can this portfolio generate for me? And then let's try to maximize and make the best decisions with Social Security and all of these other options that you might have for your specific situation. But if I can put that plan together and show you that, gosh, we can plan on a certain number of expenses. We can plan on inflation, costs of living going higher and higher and higher. Right? If we can take a lot of these longevity concerns, what if one of you or both of you live into your 90s? And you're concerned about running out of money? Well, we can make sure that doesn't happen, believe it or not. I mean, there's tools where we can add pieces in here. And there's no perfect product, right? So let's first understand that. And my planning process is we like to look at everything that's out there. And whatever you like and whatever I like, and we put that into your plan for your benefit, for your income, for your peace of mind. So those clients, they were able to retire actually 2 years sooner, right? And they've been, like I said, they've been retired for probably 3 or 4 years now.
And you said at the beginning that he was waiting till he hit that $1 million mark in the 401k, but that wasn't exactly necessary either.
That's right. Because he was assuming only like a 3.5%, maybe a 4% drawdown. Yeah. He was like, I got to get to $1 million so that I can have this income.
So you never know.
There's dividend portfolios like, Verizon, AT&T, all these companies, infrastructure, telecommunications. I mean, they're paying like 6 and 7% dividends. There's companies out there that are designed more for income for you. Energy companies, Costco, Walmart, a lot of these they've been around for years, right? So we want to I want to see stuff like that in your portfolio. Things that where, all you need to work on is I'm going to, start working out a little bit better. I'm going to get healthy. I want to live. I want to be here another 30 years. I'm going to take care of myself.
Go enjoy that money I've been working, to save my entire life.
Yes. You cannot go make this money again. So now we need to have a thoughtful plan in place, one that is income focused. Let's reduce risk in the market and then make sure that we're making all the right tax efficient moves there. And if you've got a big 401k or IRA, well, we need to be looking at Roth conversions, right? Because we know that down the road, when you get up into your 70, 73, you're going to be forced to pull even more money out potentially with, your required minimum distributions. So the planning process doesn't end once you retire. I mean, that's really when we can start doing some really creative things.
Well, that's why we say every week, Brandon's with you to and through retirement. How can we reach out to you? Somebody's listening this weekend. They say, I want to retire on my terms. Not my job's terms, not the market's terms, on my terms. How do we start that conversation?
Yeah, let's start with a quick phone call or a text. I mean, you shoot a bunch every day. So grab your phone. It's 843-890-2400. 843-890-2400. Tanya is standing by right now. If you shoot her a text, just say the word legacy plan.
Perfect.
2 words. Text the word legacy. Tanya will reach back out to you if you got a minute right now, or we can reach back out on Monday, 843-890-2400.
Thanks for listening to Charleston's Retirement Coach Podcast with Brandon Bowen. To learn more, visit bowenwealth.com and join Brandon for his radio show, Charleston's Retirement Coach, Saturdays at 11 a.m. on 94.3 WSC.
Financial professionals are not licensed in all 50 states. To find out if J. Brandon Bowen is licensed in your state, please call 843-203-2030. J. Brandon Bowen is an investment advisor representative of Bowen Wealth, LLC, a registered investment advisor. Exposure to ideas and financial vehicles discussed should not be considered investment advice or recommendation to buy or sell any financial vehicle. Past performance is not a guarantee of future results. Investments can fluctuate and when redeemed may be worth more or less than when originally invested. J. Brandon Bowen is not affiliated with nor endorsed by the Social Security Administration or any other government agency and does not provide legal or tax advice. Annuity guarantees rely solely on the financial strength and claims paying ability of the issuing insurance company. By contacting us, you may be provided with information about insurance and annuity products offered through Bowen Wealth, LLC, insurance licensed in South Carolina. Market Guard is a registered investment advisor with the SEC and provides model portfolios only to Impact Partnership Wealth. Market Guard makes no implied warranties or representations and is not liable for any data presented.